The collected works of Sri Ramana Maharshi, Chapter 5, The Essence of Instruction, Updesha Saram. There is a legend that a group of rishis once lived in the Daruka forest together, practicing rites by which they acquired supernatural powers. By the same means, they hoped to attain final liberation. In this, however, they were mistaken, for action can only result in action, not in the cessation of action. Rites can produce powers, but not the peace of liberation, which is beyond rites and powers and all forms of actions. Shiva determined to convince them of their error and therefore appeared before them as a wandering sadhu. Together with him came Vishnu in the form of a beautiful lady. All the rishis were smitten with love for this lady, and thereby their equilibrium was disturbed, and their rights and powers were adversely affected. Moreover, their wives, who were also living with them in the forest, all fell in love with this strange sadhu. Incensed at this, they conjured up an elephant and a tiger by magic rites and sent them against him. Shiva, however, slew them easily and took the elephant's skin for a robe and tigers for a wrap. The rishis then realized that they were up against one more powerful than themselves, and they bowed down to him and asked him for instruction. He then explained to them that it is not by action, but by renunciation of action that one attains liberation. The poet Murugnar wanted to write 100 verses on this theme, but he could not readily proceed beyond 70 verses. It then occurred to him that Bhagwan was the proper person to write the verses relating to Shiva's instructions. He therefore begged Bhagwan to compose them, and Bhagwan accordingly composed 30 Tamil verses. He himself later rendered them into Sanskrit. These 30 verses were subsequently translated by Bhagwan into Telugu under the name of Anubhuti Saram first and Updesh Saram afterwards. Bhagwan likewise rendered them into Malayalam. The Sanskrit version, Updesh Saram, was chanted before him daily together with the Vedas and continues to be chanted before his shrine. That is to say, it is treated as a scripture. He refers to the various paths to liberation, grading them in order of efficiency and excellence, and showing that the best is self-inquiry. Number 1. Action yields fruit, for so the Lord ordains it. How can action be the Lord? It is insentient. Number 2. The fruit of action passes, but action leaves behind seed of further action, leading to an endless ocean of action, not at all to moksha. Number 3. Disinterested action, surrender to the Lord, purifies the mind and points the way to moksha. Number 4. This is certain: worship, praise, and meditation, being work of body, speech, and mind, are steps for orderly ascent. Number 5. Ether, fire, air, water, earth, sun, moon, and living beings. Worship of these, regarded all as forms of His, is perfect worship of the Lord. 6. Better than hymns of praise is repetition of the name, better low voice than loud, but best of all is meditation in the mind. 7. Better than spells of meditation is one continuous current, steady as a stream or downward flow of oil. 8. Better than viewing him as other. Indeed, the noblest attitude of all is to hold him as the I within the very I. 9. Abidance in pure being, transcending thought through love intense, is the very essence of supreme devotion. 10. Absorption in the heart of being, whence we sprang, is the path of action, of devotion, of union, and of knowledge. 11. Holding the breath controls the mind, a bird caught in a net. Breath regulation helps absorption in the heart. 12. Mind and breath as thought and action fork out like two branches, but both spring from a single root. 13. Absorption is of two sorts, submergence and destruction. Mind submerged rises again, dead it revives no more. 14. Breath controlled and thought restrained, the mind turned one way inward, fades and dies. 15. Mind extinct, the mighty seer returns to his own natural being and has no action to perform. 16. It is true wisdom for the mind to turn away from outer objects and behold its own effulgent form. 17. When unceasingly the mind scans its own form, there is nothing of the kind. For everyone this path direct is open. 18. Thoughts alone make up the mind, and of all the thoughts, the I thought is the root. What is called mind is but the notion I. 19. When one turns within and searches whence this I thought arises, the shamed I vanishes and wisdom's quest begins. 20. Where this I notion faded, now there as I arises, the one, the very self, the infinite. 21. Of the term I, the permanent import is that, for even in deep sleep, where we have no sense of I, we do not cease to be. 22. Body, senses, mind, breath, sleep, all insentient and unreal, cannot be I who am the real. 23. For knowing that which is, there is no other knower. Hence, being is awareness, and we are all awareness. 24. In the nature of their being, creature and creator are in substance one. They differ only in adjuncts and awareness. 25. Seeing oneself free of all attributes is to see the Lord, for He shines ever as the pure Self. 26. To know the Self is but to be the Self, for it is non-dual. In such knowledge, one abides as that. 27. That is true knowledge which transcends both knowledge and ignorance, for in pure knowledge is no object to be known. 28. Having known one's nature, one abides as being with no beginning and no end, in unbroken consciousness and bliss. 29. Abiding in this state of bliss, beyond bondage and release, is steadfastness in service of the Lord. 30. All ego gone, living as that alone, is penance good for growth, sings Ramana, the Self. Om. Translated by Professor K. Swaminathan.